MegaPodTastic.
Good morning, MegaPodlings. It's Krazy Joe back at the AMC. We're going to see The Eternals. And I got to tell you, I'm very excited. This movie has been very, very divisive. It has received some of the lowest scores from the critics that any MCU movie's ever received. And that just makes me all the more curious about it. I'm really curious to see what this movie's all about. There's the poster right behind me. And I honestly think that the negative scores have increased my anticipation because I'm just so confused as to what could possibly be in this movie that, well, we're going to find out. Let's check it out. I can't wait to get in there and adjust my mask because, look, my breath is fogging the glasses up. There's the poster. Right next to the Scream 5 poster. Tonight we are in Theater 7. I've already got my popcorn and my drink. Here it is.
Attention so good, it's scary. The Addams Family 2, now playing everywhere. I was waiting to see him hard. Why won't you? Ah! Why won't you go in?
Fudge brownie M&Ms.
Not quite.
The airport.
Well, I gotta say, I expected to have my video with my review of The Eternals up sooner. I really thought I would have this up maybe on Friday. That footage you saw of me going into the theater was taken on Thursday night. I found it hard to do a review of the movie because I had complicated feelings about the movie, and I have since seen the movie twice. I went back on Saturday and watched it a second time because I really felt I needed to kind of process everything I had just seen. I'm going to say that The Eternals is, in my opinion, the worst movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I believe my previous, low bar, which was Thor: The Dark World, Thor: The Dark World is now above The Eternals. I think this is below Thor: The Dark World. Now, having said that, I don't think it's a bad movie. I think it is the weakest MCU movie to date, but I think the MCU has yet to give us a bad movie. They've all been good. It's just a question of how good and where does it fall. And in my opinion, this particular film is the worst good movie they've made. You know what I mean? It's the worst good movie that Disney Marvel has given us so far. Which means it's not bad, it's just every other film has been better. Okay, so and that's a better record than DC, because I think DC has given us bad movies. I think Man of Steel and Zack Snyder's Justice League are terrible movies. So I feel like we've had bad DC movies and Marvel movies that are not as good as the others. So there you go. Why didn't this movie work for me? Well, there's a couple reasons. First of all, let me just say I liked it much better the second time. I'm glad I went to see it a second time. I needed to really live with this movie and kind of... That's not uncommon for me. A lot of times if I'm confused by a movie... Sometimes I'll walk out of a movie and just be like, I hate that. I hate that. And I know I hate it. A good example of that was Star Trek Nemesis, the 10th Star Trek movie, which anyone who knows me knows that Star Trek Nemesis is my least favorite Star Trek movie, and I knew that immediately. But a lot of times I'll see a movie and I'm not quite sure where it falls, and I'll have to watch it again. Like with The Eternals, I walked out of The Eternals and thought that wasn't very good. But I noticed that even though I thought that wasn't very good, I kept thinking about the movie. the movie stayed on my mind for the next couple days. I kept in my mind thinking about the movie. And I'm like, this movie's better than I'm giving it credit for because I can't stop thinking about it. So I went and saw it again. And I stand by that. So what is it that doesn't work? Well, number one, I feel like they're trying to put too much into this movie. They're introducing too many characters, too many concepts. I really feel like maybe the Eternals would have been better served as a Disney Plus series, maybe with more episodes on Disney Plus, with 1 hour focused on one character, 1 hour focused on another. It might have worked better. As it is, I just felt like they're trying to jam too much. It's a heavy movie. It is a dense movie. There's a lot in here. I think that's one of the things that makes it a weaker movie for me. They're almost trying to jam too much. They're trying to jam 10 pounds of hamburger meat into a 5-pound bag. And, hamburger meat's just spilling out. Also, it's very dry. The Marvel movies are known for their trademark humor. They're usually quite funny, in fact. I mean, they're not comedies. It's not like you're going to watch a comedy, or it's not like it's a Jerry Lewis movie or something. But there's a lot of humor in the films, and that's kind of a trademark people look for in Marvel movies. Also, I've often said one of my least favorite Marvel movies is Black Panther, which I know a lot of people think it's one of the best. I think it's one of the worst. And that's another one that I think is too dry. The only source of humor in the Black Panther is Black Panther's sister Shuri, and frankly, she doesn't have enough screen time in the movie. Every time she's on screen, she lightens the mood, and she's terrific, but she's not on screen near enough, in my opinion. So I think Black Panther is a very dry movie, and I think this is a very dry movie. Thank God for Kumail Nanjiani. Kumail is wonderful. Every time he's on screen, he lightens the mood, and it's appreciated. So that's a positive in the film's favor. Some of the characters, like Thena, who's played by Angelina Jolie, I don't feel like I ever really got to know Thena. I know things about Thena, but I don't feel I know Thena. There's just so many characters. How could you give every character screen time and develop them properly? I guess you can't. There's a character who, I've seen the movie twice now, I'm not even sure her name. She's a deaf speedster. She's like the Flash, super speed, and she's deaf. And she's kind of a delightful character. She seems like she's a fun character. Little more of a lighthearted character in the way she carries herself. I liked her, but again, much like Thena, I don't feel like I ever really got to know her. I don't feel like she ever got enough development. So that's kind of where we are. It's like really dense with characters, but I don't feel we got to know all of them. And it's very dry and very slow moving, very slow. 2.5 hours, but it feels like 3.5 hours. Like it just, man, it drags. It drags. And I know there's a scene about 45 minutes to an hour into the movie where we find out really what the plot of the movie is. And you may say, wait, what? You're not finding out what the plot of the movie is until about an hour in? That's because there's so much backstory and so much buildup. We see these characters come to Earth. We kind of see them through the ages. And it's not until about an hour in when the character of Cersei kind of gets she's told what their mission is. Oh, here's our mission. And you're like, oh, finally we're getting the mission. Finally, we know, we saw now for an hour how they came to be here, what they've been doing up till now. But now we're finally going to see what they have to do, where they're going. We're finally getting that information. And when you find out what's the stakes are, it's a real humdinger, quite frankly. And you're like, ooh, this is going to be good. This is getting good now. Those are some pretty high stakes. I can't wait to see how this plays out. But then it immediately slows down again. It immediately slows down to a snail's pace right when you think it's picking up. this movie doesn't really work for me in the same way that most of the others did. It's not a bad movie. The cast is good. The stakes are fascinating. It's a good story. It's a good story, not executed as well as it could be. I like the ideas behind this movie. I like the ideas. I like the characters. But it just doesn't gel. I can tell you after 2 viewings, my favorite character is, am I going to pronounce his name right? Fastos? Fastos, I think that's his name. He's the sort of the inventor of the group. He's the Donatello of the Eternals. He's the one who like invents like various machines. He's also the character who has gotten a little bit of notice in the media for being the gay character. Everyone's like, oh, there's a gay character in this. I mean, who cares? You know, there's gay people in life. I don't know why that's a big deal. One YouTube reviewer actually said he had to close his eyes because 2 men kissed. Really? I mean, come on, dude. Grow up. There's gay people in life. I'm sorry. It's just there's gay people in the world. Live with it. But he actually was my favorite character. And it had nothing to do with him being gay. I don't care. He was the character who, like I said, he's the Donatello of the group. And Donatello is my favorite Ninja Turtle. So there you go. I want to like this movie more than I do. Because I like the cast. I like the characters. Most of the characters. There's at least one character I hated. But I like most of the characters. I like the cast. I like the story that they're telling. It just doesn't gel. I think this would have been better served as a miniseries. I really do. I think this would have been better served as a miniseries. I think if this had been a miniseries on Disney Plus, it would have flowed better and been a better experience. That said, I'm really looking forward to seeing where these characters go in the MCU going forward. I do think they're going to have a very, very important role in the MCU in the future. And I look forward to seeing how it all plays out. And a second Eternals movie, Eternals 2, if they make it, might be a much better movie. Because now that so much of the backstory is out of the way, it might flow better. We'll see. In any event, I don't hate this movie. I don't love this movie. This movie is probably the worst thing the MCU has ever given us. And that is a shame because there's a lot of good in here. Just doesn't always gel. But I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it? Audiences are split on this one. Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Keep wearing those pajamas.
Keep wearing those pajamas with the plastic feet. Keep wearing those pajamas. Tell everyone you meet. Keep wearing those pajamas with the back door flap. Keep wearing those pajamas. Don't open, it's a trap. Oh no, it's a trap. Some people call them PJs, some people call them jammies. They can come embroidered with big money and no whammies. They can have 100 tiny commander adamas. But no matter how they look, just keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep on wearing those pajamas. Keep wearing those pajamas. And now we're having fun. Keep wearing those pajamas. And now the song is done.